Hey there, welcome to Lunch with a Life Coach, episode 15. I'm Deanna, and life coach, of course, and behavior change prof, and a bunch of stuff coming together to really help you in terms of moving forward in your goals. And one of the things that we know that's so key in goal attainment is our ability to manage our time and our calendar. So it's that time of year. So this is inching towards the end of March, that time of year that it is shifting from, if you're in the business space, you're from one quarter to the next quarter. A lot of parents have kiddos that are changing maybe from one sport to another sport. All that is to say, life is seasonal, and your calendar, your time management tasks and tools are also seasonal. So what I'm going to invite you to do today, and what we're chatting about here, is to say, what do I need to do to, as I always call it, right, clean up our calendar, make sure that what you've been doing so far this year is what you need to continue to do to ensure your success, and not only your success as, whichever way you define success, but also to make sure that you're managing your health and wellness. Because when our calendar gets really busy, when we start to be feeling overloaded and that sort of thing, often the first thing to go is health and wellness activities, movement practice, etc. So today, what are we going to do? I'm just going to nudge you towards two things. One, pull out your calendar, whatever that looks like, whether it is on your phone, on your device, your laptop or your tablet, however you might be watching this, or whether it is a good old paper calendar, which I don't have at hand mine, but mine's a good old paper calendar. I love it. And so I want you to just have a look from January, February, March. If you have followed the calendar cleanup process that I have, you'll know, and so you can grab that workbook from my website. Some of you may have attended a workshop with me. And if you haven't done either one of those things, don't forget, you can scroll back in this series of podcast episodes. There are 7 consecutive episodes that are all about the calendar cleanup method. So I teach it start to finish. So if you are somebody that has gone through that, and or you have a way that you have a daily repeatable calendar or a daily repeatable schedule that you use, say on a Sunday, for example, you have a look at the week ahead, you know what comes on Monday, what comes on Tuesday, or you might have a work schedule that is similar, right, in terms of what you're doing each day. So whatever that looks like for you, I just want you to check in with what January, February, March was like, and how did it work? Where were the times? And this is often what we don't do. We make 2 mistakes here. One, we don't mean to, it's just life continues on fast forward, right? So we continue on doing the things that we've done for the last few months and really scheduling our time the same, whether it's worked or not. We just are in it and we just sort of keep rolling through it, right? So I really want you to just hit the pause button and reflect a little bit. That's the other piece, right? That we don't update our calendar. We don't pause to reflect and say, hey, what worked from the last few months? What do I need to do going ahead? So grab your calendar. What does January, February, March look like? What went really well? Do you have any weeks, days, a month, maybe the last 3 months that worked really well? You were getting done, whatever that means for you. Were you getting done the things you wanted? You were able to fit in your health and wellness as a priority. You were able to spend time with those you wanted to. You were able to tick off all of the tasks you wanted at work, whatever that is. What went really well? And how did you get there? Meaning, what were the skills, tools, abilities that you used to have that go well? Okay, so that's the first thing. What went well the last 3 months of, or I guess the first 3 months for your last 3 months, first 3 months of the year, the last 3 months for you, what went well? Then, of course, you know what we're going to do. We're going to say, well, what didn't go so well? Why was I feeling frazzled, overwhelmed? When was the time? If you have littles, I know that this was a really difficult every season is difficult in terms of, this time of year, there's always lots of germs around. And in particular, I think there were a couple extra germs seem to be going around this year. So what went well is a great, piece to start, gets us, feeling a little bit more positive. Then we have to look at, where did we struggle? Because from that struggle is really where we can find what we're missing to get to the moving well, going well, right? So what did you do on, or what happened on the times, and have a look back if you're not sure. This is why I actually want you to do this with your calendar, because none of us will remember. I mean, unless it was something really significant, and that might be outside of just a calendar cleanup, review. If it was something really significant, then of course there's a little bit more to unpack there. However, if you don't have your calendar in front of you, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't remember what happened this week or what happened that week and how was I feeling. So grabbing your calendar, going through that with that is really going to be useful. Okay. The other thing, or the next thing I should say, we're going to do is a quick thought about what the next few months bring for you. So let's say, and I quarter it because I run a business. So I quarter go in April, May, June, and I put that together sort of as my next chunk of time and what changes. That would not be right for you. You could look at month by month, a longer stretch, whatever feels like it's the right fit for you. And so then you're going to have a look. So what's coming up? What now goes on your calendar? So is there something seasonal? So coming up for me, for example, I play softball in this time of year and into the summer. So that's something that needs to go on my calendar. It's a joyous thing to go on my calendar, but it still needs to go on my calendar. It takes up an evening a week. So that's something to think about. Do your kiddos, does your family have something different on activities that come up this time of year? What do other things look like for you? Do you have a garden space you tend to that you need to factor in? Is work really busy this time of year, or is it quieter this time of year? Maybe it doesn't fluctuate. It's just something for you to think about, right? What are the next few months bringing for which you need to either make room in your calendar, or you can say, hey, I have recaptured and reclaimed some time because I know snow shoveling doesn't need to go on the calendar, for example, right? Or maintenance and that sort of thing. So I want you really just to couple those steps can be super useful today for you to get yourself ready, set up for success for the next while. So pull out your calendar, however you kept track of your time and however you kept track of activities and whatnot. What went really well the last few months? What didn't go so well? What was missing that caused it to not go so well? So if you said, oh my goodness, I fell apart around dinner time, and I feel you, I know if I don't sit down on a Friday or a Saturday and plan out the meals for the week, then I get to dinner time and I'm frazzled and I think, I don't know what to do, and things don't go well. And so that's on me. So it's not that dinner time is something to say, oh, well, it's that a struggle. Well, it's a struggle because I made it a struggle, right? It was my doing that I didn't plan. I didn't actually take my steps that I know I need to take, right? And that's one of the pieces to think about. What do I actually have control over, and how am I able to influence the situation? Okay. Then when you've done that, sort of that review and gathering that information, then you're going to make sure that you think ahead, what's coming, what are the things to think about? I know when my kiddos are not in school anymore, but I know when my kids were in school, the end of school year was really, really busy. As you start to gain momentum through April and then May and June, my goodness, there was a whole lot of stuff that really, added to the calendar. So thinking about those types of things, okay? When you get all that together, remember, one of the tools that I always suggest that we make is, what does the daily routine look like? What is a time blocking picture for your week? So Monday, just as an example, work from 9 to 5. That has to go in there. Don't forget, I don't think, unless you're maybe working from home, you don't necessarily just sign on and start at 9 and finish at 5. You've got to maybe drive to work if you're in an office. You've got a longer commute perhaps. Even if you're working from home, you've still got to take 5 minutes or so to make sure you set things up and whatnot. So you've got to think about not just the 9 to 5, but what also goes on either end of that. Okay. What do you need in the morning? What's your, your hygiene routine, and how much time do you need for that? What sort of other practices? Do you have movement practices? Do you have, prayer time? Whatever the case is for you. So making sure that you've put that in. Then it's the maybe family commitments, friend commitments, etc. You're volunteering, that sort of thing, and start to look where there might be gaps. And remember, if things begin to overlap and things are right butted up against each other, and you think there's no time for even to use the washroom between this and this, something's got to give. we've got to look at that now never next tool that I've talked about. So scroll back, there's an episode on the now never next, and see something's got to come off your calendar. Something has to be bumped to the next or the never. Okay, so again, scroll back, have a look. There's a whole episode on that. It's not too long. And so that will just get you proactively ready for things to come. When you have your week time blocked schedule, then Sundays or whatever the beginning of your week is, I want you to pull that out, look at the week ahead. Please don't leave it until 9:02 on a Monday morning when you're supposed to be starting work at 9, and then you're looking at your calendar. Okay. That's on you to have to figure out, how do I make better use of planning time? Do I need 5 minutes to look at my calendar before whatever the case is? Okay. Look at where you can make those changes, because a lot of times that frazzled, overwhelmed feeling actually could completely be avoided if we had our calendar cleaned up a little bit better. Okay. Always reach out if you have questions, comments, concerns, other ideas that you'd like to see on Lunch with a Life Coach, and I will see you back soon.